All right, let's see who the first person to join me on this lazy Sunday is going to be. I do have to let you guys know that when I said the other day that I was feeling really well, that turned out to not be quite so true. So hopefully I stay well enough to keep this thing going for the designated time, but I might need to hop off at any moment. Hello, hello, hello. Let's try new software. I got to see if this thing is actually working or not. It does not look like it is working. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I'll go ahead and hide that. That stinks. That's what I get for trying new software on the fly. Thoughts on the huge prize pot for the next Siberian show? I think anyone should be happy and excited to see it. Um, I would love to see bigger prize pools for our athletes because they deserve it. There's not a whole lot of money in strongman unless you win the big one and can market yourself to various sponsors and things. You're not doing it for the money that's at the contest because there isn't any money at the contest. And that's in 2026. I mean, they're still doing it for the love of the sport. Turn back 15, 20 years ago, and that was literally all you could be doing it for because there was no money at all in the game. So I do think it's a positive sign. I hopefully it's not just the Siberian Power Show that ponies up the dough, and then that we go back to, I guess, the norm. Um, I'd love to see it be the new norm. Maybe if I turn that off, maybe that'll make it work. I don't know. Let's try this. Hey, now it worked. Okay, great. I figured it out. Look at me, trying to be a smart cookie. So, Alex, since it appears that you're the only one sitting here with me right now, although there says there's another person or two, but they're being silent. How are you today? Oh man, I was kind of hoping that some people would get here before they go off to Laws and Liz. Uh, Thought since it was Sunday, maybe there'd be a lot of people ready to talk strongman, and so I could have some conversations with my friends before I say, "Hey, go hang out with Laws and Liz." I was tired. Gave a friend a ride home from the club last night, so up late. Were you were you playing the designated driver role? Let's see here. All right, Andrew Gilbertson wants to know what are my thoughts on Alex Jose take on ref and judging. You know what? I didn't hear his take, so I guess I can't answer that question with any sort of intellectual honesty. I need to go see his thoughts before I give you my thoughts on his thoughts. Where where were they provided at? Joseph says that he'll be here anytime that he can make it work because we need more strongman content. And I appreciate it. I love seeing people here because I love to talk about the sport. And the people in my personal life, they don't want to hear me talk about strongman. Would you believe that? They're not as crazy about strongman as I am. Does that make any kind of sense whatsoever? So I need you people to show up because it's an outlet for me to be happy and excited about what makes me happy and excited. Okay. So Joseph says that basically, uh, he says that we should have good judges, not just good former athletes following strength. Okay, on the following strength interview. All right. I mean, it's kind of hard to take issue with that. I think you'd have to try really, really hard to argue against that, unless you're one of these people that is of the position that the only people who are qualified to referee a sport or judge a sport or commentate on a sport are former athletes or people who have done it. And I think that is outlandish. Um, you've got people who go to umpire school in Major League Baseball that never played a game of baseball in their life. You've got coaches who are super, super good at sports without having been good at the sport themselves, but they're really good at teaching. You could kind of look at it as that old saying: uh, "Those who, what is it? Those who." It'd be great if I didn't screw up the saying right before I quoted it. Um, those who can do, but those who know teach, something like that. Anyway, long story short, I'll stop butchering the human language and cliches and just say, I think I think that's what we do need. I think we need to have good referees, people who are honest, people who are fair, people who are consistent, people who can look at the rules and say this is how we're going to apply them. We're going to apply them evenly. Um, I personally would love to see the sport evolve to a place where we could have a training school to go for referees for strongman to really learn how to do it. Not because they've pulled a truck before, not because they've lifted a big weight over their head before, but because they know how to analyze what they're looking at. Now, that being said, we don't have enough money to pay our athletes. So, kind of hard to have enough money to train referees and judges. But in a perfect world, in the world that I would love to see us get to, strongman grows enough that there's a big enough economy. We have an economy of scale that we can afford to pay the athletes. We can afford to pay our coaches. We can afford to pay our judges and referees, and we can afford to have qualified people in all of those positions. So I guess that would be my take. And Apprentice Alex says that he has a D&D game during this time, so won't be able to make it. I used to play D&D. Sometimes I miss it. So, uh, let's see here. He says something else about athletes here. A little expansion on Alex's take. He doesn't even think that it's bad that they hire former athletes. It's that so many of the judges are in fact getting old, and when things like I'll kind of guess I'll need to wait the rest of that. So I'll comment on this. That's fine. Let's say here. Okay, so my take on this is I definitely don't think it's wrong to have former athletes. I don't think being a former athlete means you're qualified. I also don't think being a former athlete should disqualify you. I think it's kind of irrelevant. That being said, I also don't think that age should matter that much. I don't care if you're 16 years old. I don't care if you're 76 years old. Provided you have good enough eyesight to actually call the action properly, to actually see what's going on, I I am less concerned with how old or how young you are, with how much experience you have with a personal log or deadlift yourself, as I am with your ability to correctly read, interpret the rules, and act fair and just. Call it consistently from one athlete to the next, from event to event. With things like timing, small details, and joint position determines lockout. It just gets easier and easier to make mistakes. Okay, I don't agree. Again, I think that's ageist. I mean, I guess technically speaking, you could make an argument. I'll go ahead and share this too since it's there. I'm not really a person who's ageist. Never was. Now that I'm getting older, maybe I'm even more sensitive to it. But I don't really think it's fair or accurate to say that if they're getting older, they're going to be worse at hand timing. First of all, we need to get rid of hand timing. We need to remove that from the equation. There's no reason for us to be using that as a mechanism in 2026. That's just ridiculous anyway. But even if we say, hey, we have these small competitions, we have these other things, or we got these time watches, okay, let's look at that. I think it's ridiculous to suggest that there's going to be a major difference between someone who's 55 pressing that button and someone who's 25 pressing that button. There may or there may not be. I've also noticed, I've known personally a lot of people in my life who are older and fast and younger and slow. You could make a compelling argument, I suppose, from a biological standpoint, that someone who was grabbing that same stopwatch at 27 may not have the same reflex ability that they will have at 70. That same athlete or that same judge at 27 is probably going to be slower at 70 than they were at 27. But I don't think you could sit there and say, well, because this athlete is 25 years older, or this judge is 25 years older than this judge over here, he's going to be a slower hand timer. That seems like a reach to me, and that just seems like discrimination based upon age. Um, you could easily see a guy who's 60 who has a much faster hand and eye coordination than someone who's in their 20s. Let's see, he goes on. He'll say he thinks that older guys like Magnus and such focus on training successors and being efficients replay refs, the ones who check the replays during dispute, which is a dedicated job in other sports. Um, I, I, I don't know. I again, I don't know that to me that's a different argument. That's not the same argument as, hey, do we do we need people to be athletes or former competitors themselves to be judges? Uh, I think that's a different argument. I fully back the idea that we don't need people who are former competitors themselves to be competent and qualified judges, to be competent and qualified referees. I I think when you're saying, hey, and again, I'm just taking you at your word what you said. I haven't seen the interview, so I don't want to dive too hard on this and give my thoughts on exactly what Alec Jones said until I can see what Alec Jones said. Uh, so having said that, I guess I would also say that I'm not a big fan of trying to interpret what's in the mind of someone else. I'm not going to sit here and try to read Magnus's mind and say, hey, he's focused on this or he's focused on that. He cares more about training successors and be. Maybe, maybe that might be 100% true. It could also be conjecture and someone's speculation. I try to stay out of that. I try to stay out of that funnel as much as I can. So, I will talk about the objectivity of what I think we need from good judges and good referees. I think we can talk about what qualities I think a person needs to be able to bring to the table to do the job effectively. Um, but I would fall short at speaking about what someone's motivations are. I think if you want to know what someone's motivations are, you don't ask Jace their opinion. You don't ask Alec their opinion. You go to the source and you ask them what their motivations are. Hopefully that makes sense. For those who are just now tuning in, again, I scheduled this thing to go for 45 minutes to an hour, wrap this up and end it in time for everyone to go hang out with Laws and Liz. I know that they stream uh, about 45 minutes from now, and I don't want to invade on that time. That being said, I've been very, very sick this week, and I had a few hours where I felt really good and even went to the gym. So I thought I was healed and great. And then as soon as I got home from the gym that evening, my body exploded on me and I was like, okay, apparently I am not well yet. So I stressed that just to say that even though I'm supposed to and had planned to stream for 45 minutes to 60, you guys might see me hit the go offline button at any moment. It is all based upon Jace's stomach not not the clock right now. All right. All right. Andrew says, no, you have missed the point. He was suggesting the role for them going forward so that new folk could be brought into ref positions. Well, I can't say I missed the point, and I don't think it's fair for you to say that I missed the point because I already said I didn't see it. I haven't heard his words. So I already pressed back on that and said, I'm not really commenting much on what he said. I'm commenting on what has been presented in the chat. Until I hear what Alex said, I can't really comment on what Alex said. I don't know what Alex said. I just know what you guys have posted in the chat. And so I read the sentences that are on the screen and I give you my analysis based upon the sentences that are on the screen. But I am interested. So I will make a commitment to you guys. When I'm done streaming today, I will go find the interview and I will listen to it. And and maybe that will just find its way to be a video this week on Jace Loves Strength. Not necessarily directly to Alex's comments. It'll probably be in there since it's what you guys are asking about and it is the motivating factor for the video. But in general, I would say don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if you happen to see a video land this week where I talk about officiating in strongman in general, where I think it, what I think we're doing okay, what I think we're doing lousy at, what I think needs to change. And it will come from the perspective of someone who has competed in small regional shows that no one cares. We might have, when I was competing, there might be 8 to 10 athletes out there, and there might be 20 people in the stands, all of which were our friends and family. Uh, so no one really cared, and that was okay. We weren't going to have the best of the best there. We probably weren't. We certainly weren't going to have the least biased people there doing our judging. Um, but I will still try to speak from the perspective of a competitor, even though I'm a nobody. But I'll also speak about from the perspective of a fan. I don't think anyone can deny my fandom for this sport, my love and passion for this sport. And I will speak about it from the standpoint of someone that covers the sport and it seems like you people care about my thoughts and opinions. So I'll look at it from all three of those standpoints: athlete, fan, commentator. Let's see here. Another comment here from Andrew. He says, just a heads up, it's over an hour long chat. That doesn't bother me because let's face it, I got a motor mouth. You guys have heard me speak on some Saturday and Sundays during the World's Strongest Man for 12 to 14 hours. And so if I can expect people to listen to my fat mouth run for that long, it's only fair that I can sit down and listen to someone for an hour. Now, that being said, I probably won't sit down. I don't listen to a whole lot of music when I'm at the gym. I can't say I don't listen to any. I do like to listen to bubblegum pop and sing a lot of songs loudly at the gym that make people think that maybe question my manhood, my masculinity. Uh, I love singing that stuff really loud and proud. Other than that, if I'm listening to music, it's probably going to be something Christian contemporary that I'm rocking out to at the gym, rocking out to. But by and large, when I'm at the gym, I'm really not listening to music. I'm usually listening to uh, audio Bible or listening to podcasts about strongman or MMA. Uh, so So it sounds like if that's an over an hour long chat, that would be a fantastic thing for me to listen to while I'm getting my workout in this week at some point. Hopefully, I'm feeling good enough to get back to the gym tomorrow, because I don't like being sick. Who does? And I don't like not being at the gym. So, but I do think I appreciate the heads up there. All right. Someone else put something in the chat. I was going to do uh, a chat super chat goal. It disappeared. I don't really do this for money. I'm not interested in it, to be honest. I spend a lot covering the sport, so if people wanted to bless me so that I could at least recoup some of my expenses, that'd be cool. But that being said, I was going to do a super chat goal, and then the option went away right before we went live. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But I was going to say if we get 10 super chats before the end of at least $5, then I would pick a winner, basically who had the coolest comment of the chat, and then I would send them a free t shirt. So it went away. So we're not going to do that. So no super chat goal. That's fine. But I'm still probably going to wind up picking a winner, and then I'll reach out to that person or tell you guys how to reach out to me at the end of the stream, and I will let you know what we need to do so that you can claim your winnings. So now there will be a condition, especially if we're not going to make it a super chat goal, because it's going to cost me money. There's no profit in it. If I'm just saying, hey, I have to pay for the shirt after I've designed it and pay for shipping to send it out to you. So when I pick a winner and when I send the shirt out to you, I'm going to ask that you do me a solid if you're a winner and you take a selfie of yourself wearing the JLS shirt and send it back to me so that I can post it on our community board. And I appreciate you for saying that you hope I feel better soon, Andrew. Thank you so much. I kind of thought that Banana Hammock would be swinging in because he's usually the first guy here with every time I go live. 8 people watching right now, and we're just shooting the breeze on Sunday. All right. Let's see here. The Haynes Farm Open had 2 World's Strongest Man competitors judging, Patty the Man himself and Ben Glasscock. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So so they had when you say the open, are you talking about the open division that they had there, or are you just talking about Patty's open event for, hey, come show up and compete? I'm assuming you mean who were judging the event overall, not a specific division of athletes. But I'll wait for you to respond. I'm sure our good friend Toby probably shared a bunch of results and stuff from what happened that weekend and how he did. I haven't seen any of that yet. Uh, since I've been sick, I've kind of been just sitting in my lazy boy, trying to take it easy. But I am kind of curious what happened at the Patty Haynes Farm Open. I would love to go over there and do one of those sometime. I think that'd be awesome. Be expensive considering I'm over here in the U.S., but I think it'd be a good time. I've decided I'm only going to do between 1 and 2 more contests, and I haven't done one in years and years and years and years. But before I turn 50, I gotta do one more competition at least, maybe 2. Just got to figure out when and where. I've also decided, you guys can probably notice that I'm slimming down, I'm losing weight, trying to get in better general health, general better shape, not just focused on being big fat guy who can move heavy things. Um, so I'm actually thinking of doing the unthinkable. I'm thinking about maybe also doing a bodybuilding show before I turn 50. They had multiple levels over 2 days. Yeah, Toby was in the open division. Toby competed in the open division. That's good. Um, so yeah, I guess my question though specifically was, did the World's Strongest Man judges, did Patty and Ben Glasscock, did they provide judging for all divisions? Did they do judging for novice, men's, women's, masters? Did they do it for everything, intermediates, or did they just say, okay, we're only going to call the open division? I assume they did everything, but that doesn't mean that my assumption is right. And how did Toby do? I'm sure he's made a video about it, right? So you might have even been there. I don't know. Were you there, Andrew? If they did it for all of the divisions, that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of uh, that's quite the commitment for them to be there and do that. So now, not doesn't really surprise me that Patty would do it because he's hosting it. Uh, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you were there with your wife. Well, that's pretty cool. Does your wife share your passion for the sport, or is she just a supportive partner who's like, hey, my guy likes it, so I'll go along as well? Toby apparently did all right. I like Toby. He seems like a nice lad. I kind of want to. I kind of want to make a super chat into my own chat since I pay for super chats to other people. Ugh. All right, go. Let's see who has the next question. I need someone to ask a question because so far it's not much of a lazy Sunday Q&A as much as just a lazy Sunday A, and I get called an A more than I'd like already. I hear you, Caesar. I hear you. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. All right. Have we dropped any frames? I'm really not used to this new software. I don't know that I'm going to keep it, but I wanted to try it out. It's got some features I like, but it's just different. And you guys know how anytime you change the application or platform you're using, your initial reaction is, I don't like it. Why don't you like it? Because it's not what you're used to. But um, I don't know. I'm going to commit to using it for 3 or 4 live streams before I decide if I want to make the switch or not. Excuse me. Let's see here. What events would be at an ideal show for me to compete at? I'm guessing the purpose of that question is what what events would I do best at, right? I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Um, and then let me push back on that. Well, not push back on it. Let me ask it in two ways because I might answer your question twice. It might be two different questions to me. But the question that I'd ask you right now is, do you want me to say what events would have been my best during my prime, or what events do I think that I would do best at present day? Because those are actually two different questions. About the only thing that I think would be good for me as a young Jace versus an old Jace would be the deadlift. So Joseph. I'll wait until Joseph chimes in with how he wants me to answer that question, and then I will provide an answer. Present day, but more elaboration is cool too. Okay. So if I was to walk out there right now, I'd say no events would suit me well. I am in bad shape, even though I'm getting in better shape. I'm not in good strongman shape right now. And all of my joints, every last one of them is trash. Um, I can tell you, I would not like any overhead events. Um, all overhead events would be terrible for me. My shoulders are just practically useless. There are days when I have trouble lifting my hand this high, let alone up here, which doing this is quite painful. Um, uh, Okay, I'll come back to your second question in a second. I got to go back and do this real quick because it's awesome that someone just actually did this. So, a super chat. I actually got my first super chat of all time, so that's cool. And Tony says, "Here's a little something to go towards someone else's gifted memberships on another channel," with a big wink. So, I appreciate you guys, Tony, and you see that, and I'm glad that you see that and notice it. But like, um, one of the things that costs me a lot of money covering the sport is I just try to be a generous, nice guy. And so I go on to Laws's channel, I go on to Mitch's channel, I go on to other strongman channels, and I routinely gift memberships to other fans. So I enjoy doing that. I'll continue doing that, and that's probably exactly where your $5 will go, Tony. So I appreciate it, and on behalf of someone else, thank you from them as well because your $5 is going to find its way into their pocket. So thanks, Tony. Really cool. Really cool. And now we'll go back to this chat here. Okay, so back to this. What event? So yeah, overhead events are not the answer. That's the bottom line. I would do terrible at those. In my younger years, I was pretty good at overhead. Um, honestly, I'm I am in comparison to most humans walking the earth a pretty strong, statically strong guy. Uh, but in my best, I I'm willing to say it. I was a very very statically strong guy. Um, so anything testing static strength, I was going to do well at. These days, as long as it's not pressing something on my head, I could still hang. I could still do pretty well. Um, so a deadlift would be great for me. Today, I'm actually a much better squatter than I was 15 years ago. Um, my best squat in the last year is about 680 pounds. Uh, I did not pass a 600-pound squat until I was over 40 years old. So I've actually gotten better at squatting over the years, which is surprising to me. Um, it's I would make an argument that's surprising that I can squat well at all, considering the way that I was born, and some of you know my story. Doctor said this kid's never going to walk, so I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to accomplish. That being said, I don't have much of a hip socket on the left side; it's only 10%, and two arthritic hips. So squatting is something that I should not be able to do, but somehow I've learned how to squat over the years, and I'm pretty decent at it. So deadlift and squat would be great for me, which that's why I also want to get back into powerlifting because the normal events do me well. I can bench pretty well. So powerlifting events and static events, those are going to be great. I was never a fast guy, but I also think that in most strongman speed events, you don't really have to be fast. You have to be able to move decently under weight. Um, I have a lot of nerve damage in my hand, kind of like Trey. So my grip has gotten very, very weak over the years. My grip was probably my best asset when I was younger, with the exception of, again, I'm tiny. I'm short. I'm 5'4", so I don't have big hands. I have big hands for a guy who's 5'4", but in comparison to a normal sized male, I have teeny tiny hands. And so I can't grip things because I can't wrap my hands around them. If I can get my hand around it, I wasn't going to let it go. But these days, my grip sucks. And so I don't do anything without straps these days. Even when I'm doing um, even like when I do farmer's carries at the gym, even if it's light, like 120 pounds in each hand, I still use straps because it's my grip that gives out way before the rest of me does. So even if if it's more than 100 pounds in my hand, I'm probably gonna put a strap on these days. So uh, and it's sad and depressing to me because at one time my grip was my best thing. I would say that I'm anxious to try something. That's one of the reasons I said I want to do one or two more competitions in me before I hang it up. And that is, you guys have heard me laugh at myself and make fun of my own expense. So when I used to compete in these strong shows, we'd have a yoke. We'd have two yokes there, and it was a universal yoke for everyone to use. We didn't have equipment that could be modified based upon the athlete, so there was no pins to slide the back the rail up and down based upon the height. It was just at a set height. And I was always too short to use the implementation. It was about 4 inches above my shoulders. and now it's very, very common to go to these small shows and see equipment that can be adjusted and modified based upon the athlete. So I don't know that I would be good at a yoke, but I would sure love to find out. And I'd love to get under one that can actually sit on my short shoulders. So it doesn't really answer your questions about what would be an ideal event for me, but it would be ideal in terms of making me happy because I would just be excited to do it. I would be really excited to do it. Um, so yeah, I guess what I'd say is I would welcome all of the static events that were there. I'd welcome dynamic events that I haven't gotten to really enjoy, like yokes. Um, but I would dread anything related to grip, and I would dread anything overhead. The young me would say, bring on anything and everything grip. I like overhead, and I still want to do deadlifts, but um, but that's how young Jace and old Jace differ. Um, Andrew says that you and Fred give very generously, and I've seen Fred do that for years, and yes, yes, he does. He definitely does. I just try. I just try. All right. And Alex tells us, as far as grip goes, he says that his grip is his main strength in strongman. Blacksmith strength for the win. And I think that's really cool. I think having a good grip is cool anyway, and I really miss mine. It's a weird thing to be depressed about, but I honestly do get depressed that my grip sucks, and I miss having a good grip. But cooler than having a good grip, if you're a blacksmith, I think that's really cool. I I am super impressed and super in love with guys who are into really manly careers and really manly activities. Aside from being a strong dude, there's not much masculine or manly about this guy. I am a nerd to the core. Um, I like a lot of things that are more artistic and cultured. Uh, I am kind of a sissy when it comes to a lot of things. Probably the only masculine thing about me is Jace pick up big thing, but I respect the crap out of other people. Right. Got a new comment here asking for my prediction. Will Reno or someone else beat Mitch at a major in the next 365 days? If so, which seems most likely for him not to get first at? So basically, I guess the question really comes down to, do I think someone can beat Mitch in the next year? And I'd say yes. My prediction is yes. It may or may not be Reno. He's a very good answer to that question for obvious reasons for anyone who just watched The World's Strongest Man. But if you're asking me, do I think Mitch gets beat somewhere at some point in the next year? Yeah. Yep. Um, it'd be easy to answer this and say he's about to lose at the enhanced games because Thor's about to outlift him in the deadlift. But I assume we're disqualifying single event contests, and I assume you're talking about at a proper strongman contest with 5, 6 events. I assume that's what you're asking. So yes, I think that someone beats Mitch in the next year, and I think it could be a group of guys. Reno could beat him. Thomas Evans could beat him. Evan Singleton could beat him. Lucas Hatton could beat him. Of course, Reno could beat him. Big Trey Mitchell could beat him. There's several guys that I think could beat him as long as you got the right events. If you have the right events, I think Hooper is beatable. Now, it's not easy to beat Hooper because he's very, very good at just about everything. But I think with the right events in mind, are there guys who could topple him? Yes, there are guys who could topple him. Uh, for them, what that kind of means is they need to be lucky about the event choices, and Hooper has to kind of be unlucky about the events. Um, but he's gonna put in a good performance regardless. He just is. The Moose is gonna he's gonna be he's gonna be there. I think a better question, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that because Hooper may go undefeated for the next year. He might. I predicted him to go undefeated last year, and we saw the way that things shook out there. So sure made me eat a lot of egg on my face last year. If you got, I don't know if you guys watched or remembered, but at the start of the year, 2025, I put out a a video where I said predicting the 2025 strongman year, and I went contest by contest at all the major international events as to who was going to win them. And it became a running joke because I said Mitchell Hooper on each and every single contest. And then almost immediately after I posted that video, he goes out and loses the next three events. So I guess that made me not look amazing. Um, but anyway, it is just so hard to do what he has done to win all the time. I think someone beats him in this next year. Someone somewhere beats Hooper in the next year. Um, Now, I will say this, barring injury, without any injuries that forces him to withdraw from a competition early or forces him not to compete, I will go ahead and say this. I predict over the course of the next 365 days that there's not a single event, single competition that Hooper competes in that he doesn't at least make the podium. I will make that prediction. Um, he may get beat. He probably will. Somewhere, someone is going to stand on top of the podium in first place position. I wouldn't be surprised if Hooper does go perfect, but I really think that he's not going to do worse than third in any contest that comes up. If so, what's the most likely for him not to get first at? I can't answer this one, and I'm not trying to weasel out of it. That was a long time for me to pontificate on the first half of your question. But question B, I'm not trying to weasel out, but I am going to explain why I don't feel like I can answer that. So if you say, if so, which seems most likely for him not to get first at? The reason I can't answer that is it's hard to say until we know who is competing and what events are going to be at the show. Without that, it's just me basically trying to pretend I'm Nostradamus, pick some random contest out of thin air in the future and say, here's where he's going to get beaten. He's going to do well no matter what the event is, no matter who else is competing along his side. But if I'm going to answer that question objectively and with intellectual honesty, I need to know what events are at play and who's he squaring off with. So I'd say this, Media Proof 960. If you want the answer to your question, if you want to know who is going to beat Hooper, then I would say stay tuned to Jace Loves Strength, because I will continue making prediction videos going forward. And when you hear that someone's going to beat Hooper, it'll probably find its way into the video title, I bet you. Okay, let me catch back up because that was a whole lot of stuff there that I just rattled off about. I apologize. Okay. I know a few Smiths specifically wounded veterans with pretty bad nerve damage in their hands and tried everything to rebuild their grip without success until they started smithing. So are you suggesting that if I tried smithing, I might be able to get my grip back? I might have to become more manly and take up blacksmithing if that's the case. Uh, Andrew Gilbertson says that he used to rock climb, has reasonable grip now. He used to have gadgets up majority. Yeah. True story. Several years ago, I was dating a girl. I actually think I talked about this in one of my live streams where I was covering an event. I'm not sure which event it was, but I'm pretty sure I talked about this. I was dating a girl, and she had a teenage daughter who wanted me to take her rock climbing, and we did. And I fell. And fortunately, I'm strong as an ox, so that helped me. And I was able to keep myself from getting hurt because we didn't have any equipment. But in the process, I dislocated two fingers on my hand badly. I mean, I thought they were broken. They were shaped in some very, very weird positions. So went to the ER, and they told me it would take about 8 weeks minimum, but probably 12 weeks to regain my grip at that point. It took about a year and a half after the rock climbing thing for me to recover. So that sucked. Media Proof says that Hooper definitely comes to play, doesn't he? Yes, he does, and it'll be great to see some great battles, and that's what I'm excited by. Like, I think that yes, getting the privilege to watch a dominant athlete in their prime, I think that is a privilege if you're a sports fan. Watching the great ones, Michael Jordan, do their thing, watching the great ones, Wayne Gretzky, do their thing. But I also really love seeing a knockdown, drag out fight. And we all love seeing David's topple Goliath. We all love seeing the underdog prevail and beat the unbeatable athlete. And one of the things that I'm most excited about in Strongman right now is it's fun to watch Hooper do his thing. But I also see a lot of young talent. I see a deeper talent pool right now, in my opinion, than we have ever seen in the past. And so I think that if Hooper wants to stay the man and remain the top dog, he cannot rest on his laurels. He cannot take it easy for a second. There can be no taking his foot off the gas. He is about to be pushed. He is about to be pushed hard, and he will be pushed by more than just Reno. Mark my words. Reno will not be the only one pushing Mitchell. Not to say that Mitchell can't stay on top. Maybe he can. But he is going to have to act like he is the hunted right now because he is. And I'm all about it. I am here for it. It's exciting to watch these guys battle it out. Tony says that Reno could be the favorite at Rogue this year. Very possible. After what Reno just did, it wouldn't be weird to see him at the favorite in a lot of contests. Um, I'm very very interested to see what Reno does in his next contest to see how he follows up the world's strongest man. Um, whether he wins the next contest or not, I'm just interested to see what he looks like. If he shows up to Rogue, if he shows up somewhere else and puts on the same kind of performance that he did at World's Strongest Man, oh man, man, what a scary stud! And at that point, all bets are off. All bets are off, and boy, did our sport just get exciting. Alex talks about what I was talking about here. He says he does think the era of total Hooper dominance is over. I don't know if it's over. I don't know. I'm inclined to believe it is because I think it's going to be hard to dominate when you're being pushed that well. And like I said, if he takes his foot off the gas for a second, he is in trouble. And that's where I think that you might be right. It's not just the strength of the competition, but there's something that happens in competitive sports. And we see it happen with fighters all the time. You guys know that I like MMA a lot too. When you're doing really well, when you've achieved success, when you've got some money in your pocket, it gets a little bit tougher to train as hard as you did when you were trying to build that status, when you were trying to get a big check, when you were trying to get recognition. It's easy to go to the gym at 4 a.m. when you're acting like a starving individual. It's a lot tougher to go to the gym at 4 a.m. when you think, I could just snooze and stay in this California King bed that cost me 10 grand for the next 2 hours. And so um, Hooper has earned everything that he has gotten. And I wouldn't take anything away from him. He's earned it all. But there is a question that I think it's worth asking in sports, which is, has that spoiled him at all? Does he still have that fire? Does he still have that drive? He seems to. Right now, he does seem to. But there was such distance, such separation between Hooper and the rest of the field, with them closing that gap on him now. I think it's fair to ask the question: are they closing the gap because isn't trying as hard, isn't training as hard, or did he motivate them to try so hard that they're out there training like savages while he's still doing what he has always done? I think these are the types of questions that I don't have the answers to. I just pose the questions to you guys to ponder them and think about them. Um, so yeah, I think that he's about to be pushed like he has never been pushed before, and it will be interesting to see how he handles that challenge. yeah, we're again people talking about Reno here and seeing excited about what he can do. I'm excited as well. Um, let's look at this one here. I'm excited, super excited to see Reno at the deadlift championships. I am now. I am now, even though it wasn't a max deadlift at the world's strongest man, to see what he did over and above the rest of the pack. I'm excited to see it now. I'm excited now for sure. All right, this is an interesting one. I saw this one. I was kind of waiting to get to it. Reno said he's going to stick with the Strongman Champions League to defend his title. Will this get other top guys to join in the SCL? Andrew, I don't know if it will or not, but I'd like to. I will say this. I have finished the algorithm, guys. The Strongman World Rankings, I keep telling you they're coming. They are really coming. I was actually going to do a live stream last night and reveal to the world the top 40 Strongman World Rankings, the top 40 Strongman in the Strongman World Rankings list. I was going to do a live stream and reveal it last night. And then about an hour before I went live, I noticed some errors in my Excel spreadsheets that screwed up my formulas. And so I had to turn that off so that I didn't look like an idiot. And I had to fix all of that stuff so that the rankings were accurate and not tainted by scripting errors. So it is coming. It's coming very soon. It's coming very soon this week. I do want to do it live. And as a matter of fact, that's kind of how I wanted to end the stream. I was going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to post it here in a poll in just a minute. But the algorithm is ready. The top 40 are there. The first Strongman World Rankings are coming out soon. So I will say this, though. There is a weighting system. So not all competitions are worth the same amount of points. Performing well at the big majors like Worlds, Rogue, Arnold's, Smo if it comes back, those are worth more than other series. They're slightly worth more than Giants Live majors. Giants Live majors are slightly worth more than SCL and some other things. So I will say this. If more of the top guys start showing up to SCL, it's going to change my algorithm. It's going to make Jace have to go back and do more work. I'm okay with that. I'm not afraid of work. But I will say, Andrew, if more guys show up to the SCL, it's going to mean that I have to adjust the algorithm to match. So now I'm going to post that poll that I talked about real quick. You guys get 3 choices here. Was going to do another one, but it would interfere with church, and I can't do that. So, like I said, I do want to live stream when when I unveil the Strongman World Rankings to the world. So, you guys pick a day this week when you'd like to tune in for that. All right. Agreed. That's the only comment that I'll make there. That's all that needs to be said. Agreed. And Alex says the reason I think Hooper's dominance is over is that his dominance was largely due to his ability to keep his foot on the gas longer than anyone else, but now he's starting to show some mileage. It's fair. It's fair. I don't know if his dominance is over or not, but I think if it isn't, if his dominance isn't over, if he continues to do what he has done, I will be more impressed with him than I ever was before, for all of the reasons that we've already talked about. If he can continue to dominate when those who are coming up are chasing him, when they're hungry, when they're ferocious, when they're better trained, when they're younger and stronger day by day by day, and after he's had the wear and tear, after he's been through injuries, after he's went through competing nonstop. I mean, that dude used to show up at every competition there was. He was just constantly competing. if he's able to continue to do what he's done, I'll just be more impressed, not less. Hey, Walt's here. Let's go say hi to him. I love watching Waltzilla, especially on Facebook, because Walt, you put a lot of stuff out there that is controversial. A lot of takes that I don't think are controversial. I don't always agree with you. I agree with you more than a lot of the people who comment do. I see that a lot of times people are very unhappy with the things that you say, Walt. I agree with you more than I don't. I don't always agree with you, but I don't agree with anybody all the time. But what I do like about you a lot, Walt, is you lay it out there, and I can tell that you're passionate, you care, you're authentic, and you're definitely unafraid to let people know your position, whether it's popular or not. And so, I say hats off to you, Walt, and keep doing what you're doing. Andrew's going to leave us so that he can get to Laws and Liz. We're about to wind this thing down because of that reason. As I said, I don't want to top into their time. And so that being said, we are going to end this in just a second here. I want to see real quick. I want to end the poll. I don't know how many votes we've had, but let's take a look here. So we have a two-way tie. People like Thursday and Saturday. They do not like Friday. So there you have. I'll make a choice between Thursday and Saturday. I'll probably flip a coin off camera. So either this Thursday or this Saturday, you guys have to come back and join Jace on live stream because the Strongman World Rankings are going to be officially unveiled. I'll read a couple more questions and then I will get up here real quick. It's going to be a two-headed monster with Reno and Hooper in the foreseeable future? No, I do not think it's going to be a two-headed monster. I think it's obvious and easy to say that and think that right now based on what we just saw. But I don't think that. I think that there are some young guys who are about to break wild. I think they're about to be pushed. I think it's going to be more than a two-headed monster, and I think that's one of the things that makes me skeptical that Hooper will continue to dominate. More power to him. I hope he can do it for his own sake. I hope he can do that. And he should approach it like he is the man, because he's already proven that he is the man and doesn't care about any doubters. But I think that he's going to struggle a little bit because it's not just going to be Reno pushing him. I think that he'll face competition from other channels. That's really what I expect. Reno seems like the easy name to say right now to topple the Moose, but I think there'll be others who show up. And Alex says, don't take my comment to mean I think he's not going to be a consistent podium finisher. Just we're never going to see a season like 2024. It's very tough to see another season like 2024. If we do, he is the man. If we see another season, if we see another calendar year where Hooper does what he did in 2024 against the caliber of athletes that are out there now, I don't care that Hooper's career has been shorter than some of the all-time greats. If Hooper can turn in another 2024, I'll go ahead and say it right now. The dude is the greatest of all time. And I'll stand by that. But I think it would be very, very tough to duplicate what he did in 2024. And I'm gonna go through one more comment here, and then I'm gonna end the stream, guys, so that we can go hang out with Laws and Liz if you want to. And that is, did you see the Warrior Ron Green guy participate in the crazy heads up running thingy? I didn't. I've heard about this, and so I want to. And I hate leaving the stream where I'm choosing to comment on something that I can't comment on because I haven't seen it. No, I haven't. I want to. I need to. So there we go. I'll check it out. In the meantime, I thank you guys for hanging out on this lazy Sunday with me, and love you guys. Thanks for your support. I'll see you guys soon, and we'll talk soon. Hopefully, see you next Sunday. Later, guys.